Are you a direct-to-consumer founder trying to hit your first 100K a month in revenue? In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 ways you can hit that goal faster than expected. Now, who am I? Why you should listen to me? My name is Chris Fernandez. I'm the founder of ScaleVelocity.io. I operate a portfolio of ECOM brands under management, and we've crossed well over 13 million in this year alone. I take experiences from brand to brand to brand, and I share my learnings and just the solutions I've been able to crack on my YouTube channel. A lot of founders are in that 30 to 50K a month market revenue. I've spoken to a lot of founders in these specific pockets of revenue marks, and everybody's goal is to increase their profit margin. A couple of frameworks you can follow to implement for your brand directly so that you can be on track to hit 100K a month by the end of going into 2024. Let's break it down into 5 specific variables or 5 steps. So the first step across anything, I think this is probably the most important step, is you need to validate product market fit. When I look at the spectrum, paid ads only amplifies your business. If you cannot generate sales organically, if you cannot at least hit 10K a month organically, well then there's some sort of lack of product market fit. Because if you have a winning product, running ads is ultimately just amplifies your business. You're able to reach success faster and more efficient, rather than I've seen other brands where you try to force ad spend and they're barely at break even for whatever reason. The product just doesn't fit the market or the timing is off. So before you invest a ton of money into ads or acquisition or even creative strategy, you want to make sure there's some sort of demand for your product and you can at least generate consistent sales organically around 5 to 10K a month of revenue. Because when you get to that point, you have social proof, you have some sort of status delta. Now when you run ads, you're able to hit 30K a month, 50K a month, and then from there expand the vertical. The second variable that's most important if you want to hit 100K a month of revenue is you need to have iterations of your product. If we look at just some brands that have been innovative in the space, look at Scrub Daddy. They had a specific sponge, it was like what, $10 a pop, and then from there the other variations of their product went into more home appliances, cleaning for pets, these sort of angles. So I've seen it before where some brands just have a really good SKU, a single SKU. Let's say it could be like a wristwatch or something, like just a single SKU product that's like their main winner. Maybe it's a t-shirt. What I've seen brands do to really scale is just make new collections and constantly drop new collections, because there's 2 avenues when it comes to running your business, right? You want to acquire brand new customers into your ecosystem at a profit, and you want to make sure they're buying back from your business multiple parts during the year, because it's useless if you paid $30 to acquire a brand new customer and then they don't buy back from your business. You don't have a viable business model. You're at a net loss. So it's very important that you work on areas outside the business to get people to buy back from your business. You need to give them a reason to buy back. So it's either you have new variations of designs from a specific collection, or you just have a new product in general. I'm always pushing for both, because when you have a new product, you can reach a whole different customer demographic. And then if you have a single specific design, you're just making more variations, you're giving your existing customer base reasons to buy back. So going into the third phase, or the third variable in this video, would be mainly to focus on one single ad channel when you're running paid ads. Too many times I see founders get blinded by shiny object syndrome. They're either agency hopping, or they're either testing different platforms, and just, let's say they have a 5 or 10K budget, they're doing 10K on they're doing 2K on Facebook, 2K on Google, 2K on TikTok, and then whatever other platforms. You need to focus on one single channel and get that channel profitable as fast as possible. And then from there, you're able to diversify into other channels. So the strategy for us is Facebook's been the most consistent channel out of all the other channels. It's still the dominant platform, and the algorithm is just far ahead than, let's say, a TikTok. So the way I use these channels and how I look at them coherently is Facebook's mainly our top of funnel acquisition source. We're going fully broad. We're getting brand new customers in the funnel. We might run Google ads with a downsell in place or an upsell in place, where we're just running search campaigns to now hit people that might have not converted on Facebook, but we're measuring success on an incremental scale. We're pretty much saying, okay, if we run this Facebook ad, what's the correlation from this outside the business? Does the search volume go up? Does this aid within the funnel? Does this help with Google search campaigns? Because the last thing you want is just to turn off an ad that's filling the funnel. And then from there, the third phase, or like when it comes to, we have Facebook profitable, Google's doing majority of our retargeting, then we might diversify into a third channel. Maybe it's YouTube ads, maybe it's TikTok ads to keep funneling in new traffic. It really just depends on the brand, the product, and ultimately how well the creators are, depending on the platform. So when you have a single channel, you scale really, really hard, then you diversify, you're more consistent in results rather than starting very small with small budget and you're using all these other channels, right? You want to focus on one single channel. Once you have consistent revenue and once you hit entropy, then you look to diversify, or you just look to make iterations of offers. The fourth phase in this is ultimately you want to build a community. Now you can build a community with a Facebook group. You can send traffic to Discord channel. Regardless, you want to just build a community. Now the benefits of a community is that, okay, let's say you do drop new collections. Instead of you spending more money on email and SMS campaigns, you can literally just push a pre-order launch or a VIP list on your community, and you can generate sales with every new collection drop or every new offer without spending more money on paid ads or more money on email and SMS campaigns. And as a byproduct, if you have a Facebook community and you're running ads on Facebook or Instagram, I believe the correlation with your CPM should get cheaper and cheaper over time because you're just using the Facebook platform, you're using the algorithm to boost ultimate sales. Because I've seen it before where we've compared two brands. One brand has like 30K followers on Instagram, the other brand has like 1 million followers on Instagram. The CPMs are drastic. Right off the gate, the platform or the brand that had 1 million followers, I mean, we're seeing $5, $10 CPMs. Whereas with the other brand, we started off with $20 CPMs and it took us a lot of time to get down to $10 CPMs. So I would assume that having a community does have an effect on the way Facebook is ranking your engagement across the board. And then ultimately you're going to get rewarded with overall cheaper CPMs and cheaper CPAs. So the benefit, the net positive of a community is you get strong retention, you get boosts within the algorithm as far as engagement and just social ranking. And then as a byproduct, you're going to get a ton of social proof, right? Because you're going to have customers willing to post testimonials and just share how they love your product. And ultimately you're just creating more of that environment. So you're giving customers a reason to buy back from your business. And a lot of brands aren't taking advantage of running a community. Now the last phase, or the fifth variable to this whole entire equation, what separates a brand doing 100K a month versus a brand doing 30, 50K a month of revenue? Ultimately, it's the decision to learn these skill sets and ultimately integrate in-house. The goal should always be integrate in-house. Whether you do outsource to an agency and you're only working with them for 90 days, you as a founder should always try to learn as much from that single agency and then look to bring that skill set in-house. Because I'll break down the reality of how agencies function. Agencies are a business model as well. They're trying to grow their bottom line. They're trying to grow their net profit. So if you're agency and you're working with a client and that client retainer is what, 10K a month or 15K a month and just retainer, that specific brand's going to get priority. Whereas if you have another client and they're at that 30, 50K a month mark and they can only afford 2 or 3K a month retainer, well, then what happens is that agency is ultimately just outsourcing their team to a junior media buyer to handle that campaign structure, which is not what you need at that point in time. You need some high-level expert to get you to that point. Because I would argue that going from 30 to 100K a month of revenue is harder than going from 100 to 200K a month of revenue as far as just total unit economics, because you still have to validate product market fit. You have to dial in your sales channel or your sales funnel. You need to scale pretty hard. You need to develop a foundation on a single access channel. So there's a lot of moving parts. And the moment you outsource, you're pretty much at the whims of a junior media buyer who's never managed an ad budget at like 10K or 30K a month in total ad spend. You need to get your priorities in order. And when I compare this business model compared to SaaS or software, if you look at a tech company, they rarely outsource their sales and marketing. They have everything in-house. But if you look at e-commerce, every single founder is outsourcing the agencies. And I've taken dozens and dozens and hundreds of these calls, and founders are telling me, hey, Chris, we just got burned by X amount of agencies. How are you different? How can you help us, right? And I tell them, well, it's ultimately your fault for trusting that agency to grow your business. You should never outsource your marketing. This is your most important variable as a business. You need to ultimately, if you do outsource, learn from the agency and look to integrate it in-house. There's a lot of information coming out and you don't really need an agency anymore in this day and age, right? Because the variables that move your business forward isn't a specific type of ad campaign structure. What really moves your business forward is better creatives. Can you integrate? Can you have a creative system that can pump out multiple variations week over week? It's landing pages. Do you have a developer? Are you creating new concepts or new ideas to raise your overall conversion rate? Is it even offers? How many offers are you split testing? Are you bundling your best hero SKUs and putting that on the front end, right? These are all the variables you need to ask yourself. And if you have no control or no direction of what's happening here, well, then I would say audit your whole entire business and look to fix that part of your business. It's the most important part that's going to yield the highest return possible for anything you do. The moment you outsource to an agency, you are pretty much at the whims of that agency. The agency is controlling your growth, which any business owner, you want to hedge your bets and you want to mitigate risk as much as possible. The only way you can mitigate risk as a founder is if you learn the skill sets, are willing to actually move the needle and be in day-to-day operations, then look to integrate a team in-house so that you can take yourself out of day-to-day ops once everything is pretty much the foundations are in place. So if you're looking to expedite that process and you ultimately do want to build in-house, but you want that North Star direction, well then feel free to check out my website, scalevelocity.io, where you can book in a call, you can check out our testimonials. What we do is simply help founders build in-house for an exit, or at least set them up so they have a potential to exit. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.